Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Will is your host. Thank you so kind for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. There seem to be a few issues I noticed with our. We just installed a new software for the Wirecast. I don't know sometimes why I upgrade these things because it seems like every time we get started, there are some sort of issues that come into play. But anyhow, we are going to do our best to make sure that we have a solid show for you today. Bear with me as I make sure that all is working fine, as I go ahead and make sure that we get all the things that need to be synced up. And I want to go ahead and make sure and run the Explorer again, because it seems like we have some issues here with Explorer. So we'll see if we can resolve some of these issues going forward as we run and program the show. So let's see. Anyhow, folks, how was your weekend? Happy weekend is what I want to say. Happy weekend. I hope everybody's weekend was fine. I trust that it was fine. Anyhow, let's say hello to everybody. Welcome aboard. Yvette Avery Herod says, good afternoon. Pastor Eric Hayes is in the house. We also have Lee Grant in the house. We also have Bridge MCP, Bruce Pollard, Paul Fleming, AVQ. AVQ seems to be just sticking around for a little bit, but hey, that's all right. We enjoy all our people, which whatever time they provide or are able to give or come by with us, of course. Anyway, folks, how was your weekend? I think we had a pretty eventful weekend. And in my case, it was the week of what we call the Peace and Justice Award. It's the, what is it called? It's the annual Peacemakers Award that the Houston Peace and Justice Center gives, of which I'm a member of. And we can never talk about how great activists are. We have a lot of great activists that permeates the entire Houston area. We also honored a national group. Specifically, we honored the Texas Observer. It was a really good event. I already have it taped. I'll play some of those interviews going forward at some other time. Anyhow, though, as I'm saying right now, let's go ahead and get started. Bruce asked the prescient question of the day. Bruce says, how can they solve this Israel-Palestine thing realistically? Let me tell you, realistically, the only solution is America. America and the West created Israel, the new Israel, 75 years ago. You can go ahead and read the history. I think more than anything else, people need to read the history about the creation of Israel and what had to occur for that. I think knowing the entire story, not just what has been given to you today, is very important. Absent that, you're working off of propaganda. Nothing more, nothing less. But it's deeper than that, right? Because our own history, America's own history, is how too often Israel keeps America from telling it what it needs to do. Okay? Millennia has not been around thousands of years. Israelis the Jewish folks have been around all for millennia. Okay? Yes. Israel is a new creation, whether you want to accept it or not. The land of Palestine has been inhabited by Jews and Arabs for millennia, and they've coexisted and lived together for millennia. The creation of the boundaries of Israel today is new, and to do so required quite a bit. So what I'm telling you, folks, go ahead and see for yourself how this land was created. In fact, well, I'll leave that for you all to do on your own. But I tell you how I want to start. I want to go ahead and start with, this massacre that is occurring in Gaza, right? Because what we really have is the false narrative that we get here in the United States. And for those who are not inclined to research on their own, to read on their own, it is easily bought, which is where we're at today. I want to let you see what many Israelis think about the Palestinians. Let's take a look at this, and then we'll take it on the other side. The Israeli Defense Forces would have you believe that the reason they are destroying, annihilating Gaza the way they are is because of 1,400, actually not, it's 1,200 people who died, who were murdered innocent people murdered by Hamas. And that this is to destroy Hamas, and they're going through the war procedures to make sure they're doing, that's what they'll have you believe. What they don't tell you is that the same kind of right-wing hate for humans for the other is what's playing out now. The reason that they are killing indiscriminately in Gaza, even as they lie on American TV to say, oh, they're following the rules and it's just because Hamas is hiding among these people. Two things can be true at the same time. But also, one could say, why go ahead and destroy these people? There are a lot of other options. Flood the tunnels, blow up the tunnels, let these guys come out like roaches. And as they come out, pop them off. You have all these drones and forces that can be used to minimize. You don't have to destroy the infrastructure of an entire town if you're not looking for some genocidal way of moving these people elsewhere. Well, the one thing about it is the right wing seem to never have been all that smart in any country, in as much as they're sometimes successful for a period of time. But these guys didn't forget to tell what they were all about. I want you to listen to this montage that was put together of the hate and the plans that Netanyahu, the right wing, and Israel has for Palestinians and Gaza for that matter. Check this out.
זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק להצטוון. אנו זוכרים ואנו נלחמים.
He's saying, listen to the Bible. Now go and smile, Amalek, utterly destroy all they have to spare not, but slay
it's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true.
אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק.
No food, no water, no fuel.
סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם.
Very puzzled by the constant concern which the world is showing for the Palestinian people and is actually showing for these horrible, inhuman animals who have done the worst atrocities that this century has seen.
Gaza won't return to what it was before. We will eliminate everything. Human beings are dealt with accordingly.
هناك إسرائيليون يعني وصفوا الفلسطينيين في غزة وصفوهم بأنهم حيوانات والأقل من حيوانات.
أنا لا أسويهم بالحيوانات لأن هذا تحقير للحيوانات.
هذا رأيك دكتور مردخاي؟
هذا رأيي.
תכסחו אותם כמה שיותר, שלא להשאיר מהם זכר, שלא הם, לא אמא שלהם, לא הילדה שלהם, לא התינוקות שלהם, אסור להם לחיות לחיות האלה. אתה יש לך שכן ערבי, אתה לא תחכה שהוא יבוא אליך הביתה, תיכנס אליו הביתה ותירה.
That is a military official Creating a severe humanitarian crisis in Gaza is necessary, is what Gira Erdnad, the former head of Israeli National Security.
לצורך אתה חושב שאנחנו יכולים להרוג מאות אלפי פלסטינים ברצועת עזה והדבר הזה יעבור?
תראה, עכשיו בתקשורת הזרה יוצאת הודעה בשם ישראל שמיליון פלסטינים כבר ירדו מדרום הרצועה דרומה, וכל מי שנשאר שם נחשב כמחבל.
They want them to leave. Invest this energy in one thing, erasing all of Gaza from the face of the earth. The Gazan monster will fly in the southern fence and try to get into Egypt. That's what they want them to do. Yes. Israeli official calls for
תשמיד את עזה עכשיו. עזה הופכת לדרזדן.
And outside of the administration and in the military. How many American soldiers were killed in Hiroshima? This land is ours, a whole country, all of it, says the military official, including Gaza, including Lebanon, the whole of the promised land. We're finishing off Gaza, says an activist. Think about that, folks. We are a light unto the non-Jews. Think about that, folks. Now, I want you to understand what's going on here. I want you to really understand what's going on here. The propaganda and Netanyahu come on American TV and they say something. They know Americans don't read foreign papers. They know Americans don't use foreign news outlets. They know all of that. They know, in fact, Netanyahu has been known to say specifically, those Americans, they're easily moved. In other words, I can come into America, tell them a story, and they'll do as I tell them to do because they're easily moved. So says Netanyahu. As they annihilate human beings, as they kill indiscriminately, and we have the evidence showing you out of their own mouths. So when they come over here and say they're just trying to defend Israel, they're just trying to prevent what occurred when 1,200 innocent Israelis were killed. When they say that, understand that based on what these war criminals want to do in their heads, in their evil heads, they're not all that upset with what Hamas did, because Hamas gave them the keys to the door to annihilate Gaza, to annihilate, to murder, plunge, and kill, which is what they wanted to do all along. Which is what they wanted to do all along. I repeat, which is what they wanted to do. This is what they want to do. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So folks, I see a lot of commentary about when Israel was created and all that kind of stuff. Oh, let me just say, let me be clear here. The reality is there's a lot more to be said. But I would like all of you to go ahead and read up again on the history of Israel. And you ask Brother Bruce, how do you solve the problem? Unfortunately, America is not the best. It's not the best person to be telling folks about humanity and what to do. Because even as we sell ourselves as the bastions of humanity, even as we sell ourselves as being the ones that are, that somehow has some sort of moral authority, the rest of the world has never bought that. We say that, but the rest of the world has never bought that. I mean, I want to remind us of something that very few people take note of unless they sit back and are told. All the things that we fear other countries are going to do are the things that we did. So unless we come home and atone for the things that we did, right? And look, this is not saying that we are worse than any other country or better than, or definitely not better than any country. Powerful doesn't mean you're good. Powerful don't mean you have the best human intent. We are so concerned that Iran is going to use a nuclear bomb if they build it, that Russia or all these other folks are going to do these things. We are so concerned. But if you take a look at it, what is the reality? The reality is the only country that has ever used the nuclear bomb on other human beings to the order of killing hundreds of thousands. Hey, you're looking at it, that we did it. When you look at the massacre that Israel is inflicting on the infrastructure and on individual human beings in Gaza, hey, we did it in Panama. Hey, we did it in Iraq. Hey, we did it in Grenada. Hey, we did it in Afghanistan. Hey, we did it in Haiti. Hey, we did it in Dominican Republic. Hey, but Americans don't know the history, right? Don't know the history. And no, Lee Grant, please tell me something that I'm saying that is incorrect. Please let me know. Lee Grant, I respect everybody's opinions, but please let me know what you think that I am saying that is incorrect. The things that we are concerned other countries are doing, we have already done. We've enslaved. We've committed genocide. We put people into reservations. Israelis are put in, have occupied land for Gaza and the West Bank. Israel hasn't quite enslaved them yet and whipped them and taken away like we have done. We have had indentured servitude. We have abused the Asians as they came over to work on the. So what I'm saying, folks, it takes. Thank you for reminding me. We've interned people in Japanese camps because they look like those people we were fighting, not remembering that the people who fought in Ireland and England fighting against each other, they looked like each other. And I don't remember one set putting anybody in a camp. Folks, that's amazing. So it takes first a level of atonement. Israel doesn't have any concern about about morality. None whatsoever. None. Bruce says reality is two enemies facing each other. No rules, just kill both sides. Rich men make money. Poor people die. Don't repeat what we know. Help us find a solution. Formation of Israel dates back thousands of years. 1948 was just their most recent move after the Ottoman Empire. Let's back up a second, brother Bruce. You just said don't repeat what we know. And unfortunately, my brother Bruce, you know a lot. You're very educated. Okay? Most progressives are very educated and they understand these things. But why do I have to repeat them? I guarantee you that Eric Hayes, Lee Grant, and all these guys, even if they know certain things, they don't know it in the proper context. Because as they see it, somehow we have a moral authority to talk what we talk. We don't. We absolutely don't. And until we get that in our heads, it will be hell on earth. Welcome aboard, Melissa Bowie. Welcome aboard, Alistair Waters. Great seeing you guys here. Melissa says this is just the beginning. If they continue, that's exactly what's coming. it is so important for us to understand these items. Melissa says, can you imagine KKK and Jews fighting together? SMH? No, the KKK actually hate Jews for some reason I don't quite get. Because even the Jews of today are not the Jews of yesteryear. Because the Jews of today are basically the ones that are running Israel are basically Europeans, right? These are the Europeans that Europe didn't want, right? And that was a formation. But what is so interesting? What is so interesting is that if you honestly look at who's running Israel, and you also understand something that Brother Biden said many decades ago, and it still gives me goosebumps when I hear it. When he said, if Israel didn't exist, we would have had to create it. I want any of you who heard that statement or understand that statement in the chat, tell me what you think that means. This is what Biden said several decades ago. I repeat, he said, if Israel did not exist, we would have had to create it. What do you think that meant? Let me put that on the screen for Bridge MCP. Let's go ahead and put that there. I'll go ahead and get it onto the screen. Whatever Bridge asks, I provide. It says, welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan. You're here, but you're late, but you're here, girl. And it says, Trump echoes Hitler's words on the campaign trail. I will get rid of the communist vermin. I will get rid of the communist vermin is what Hitler said. And Trump said the same. I will take care of the enemy within. I will take care of the threat from within. That was Nazi versus Brother Trump. Now again, Hitler, Jews and migrants are poisoning Aryan blood. Trump, migrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Hitler says, one people, one realm, one leader. Trump says, one people, one family, one glorious nation. Wow. What a thing. What a thing. What a thing. All right. Lee Grant says lots of Jews went to Israel when most of Arabia went Judenfrei. I got to look that word up. I guess you taught me something there. I don't know what that word means. Bridge MCP says if it meant we need the area to be in the area, a place to be. Melissa Bowie says everyone is getting out the way for Daddy Trump, except independent. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? That is why Donald Trump cannot be allowed to win in 2024. Right now, it's bad enough. And I mean this to my heart. And look, this crop up with Israel, Gaza, and Hamas is a danger because the young people are educated. They are getting the true history of the Middle East, not what was fed to them. And in doing so, they're very upset at Joe Biden and Joe Biden stance with Israel. And so I am not sure where we're heading with respect to how the election is going to turn out. Because again, it seems like every domino is falling to put Biden at a disadvantage, and somehow a buffoon because of where our minds are elevating folks like Trump. I want you to listen to Amy McGrath from Kentucky. Amy McGrath attempted to defeat, I think it was Mitch McConnell. Amy McGrath points out a very important feature about who we have as Republican leadership today. And it is important that we understand what she's saying And it's important that many digest this with the expectation that ultimately people will get it right. So let's go ahead and play what Amy McGrath had to say, and then we'll take it on the other side. I could not have said it any better myself. Amy McGrath hits the nail on the head. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Amy, what can be done about someone like Tuberville?
Well, I think the Senate's going to have to really look at this going forward, because ultimately we can't have one senator holding up and hurting our military and our national security in such a way. It has been 9 months, and Senator Tuberville has literally weaponized his own position as a United States Senator to actively hurt our military, to actively harm our military readiness and hurt military families. And this has gone on, as you said, for 9 months. What has allowed this to happen is that the rest of the Republican Party and his fellow senators have largely been silent all the way up until now. And so, we can't allow this in the future. And the problem is we see more and more these extremist senators who in the past would be sidelined. No one would listen to them. But now the Republican Party has elevated their most ignorant, most arrogant, least qualified, most embarrassing members to be the leaders of their party. And this is the consequence, and it has real national security concerns.
I find it astounding that in 2023, we still have a Senate where the rules allow one senator to block absolutely any bill from coming to the floor, except if he gets a huge majority of senators to somehow override him over several days or whatever it takes. It is sick. It is completely sick that we have this. Now, I hope that what we get going forward is the realization that in a real democracy, you can't have a Senate that decides to act the way Tuberville is acting. And what Amy McGrath had to say about how these guys operate, you cannot say it any better. Currently, the Republican Party seem to move forward the least intellectual, to put it as kind as I can, the dumbest persons up forward. And because of that, we are in the situation that we're in throughout the country. One hopes that changes.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely so, folks. Absolutely so. But anyhow, repeating. The Republican Party has become a clear and present danger to the United States of America. And the truth of the matter is our support, our undying support for what Israel is doing right now in Gaza. In other words, we're telling Israel, don't do these things in Gaza right now, Israel. But if you do, what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? The truth of the matter is we have leverage. The truth of the matter is, Israel, get out of Gaza or your money stops. Israel, get out of Gaza. You're not going to be using American bombs to blow the smithereens out of human beings. You're not going to do it. You are not going to do it. You can't. And you know what? They cannot survive without American support. So as such, it is time to haul in Netanyahu, or to put it better, just like we have overthrown we just like we overthrow the guy previous to the Shah of Iran, we should overthrow Netanyahu. Just like we've overthrow dictators across the country, we should. Where do they get the white phosphorus from? I don't know. I imagine they get it from us too. But I mean, they're decimating the Palestinians. And then we have those people who somehow in their false humanity can find an excuse that 1,200 Israelis were murdered by Hamas, but that gives them the green light to get over 12,000 Palestinians, right? 10-1. That's the number, right? 10-1. 10-1. 10-1. Eric K. says, Beto, there's no leverage. You have no say. Why aren't you concerned over Ukraine too, or down south on, yes, it's inconvenient? There's a huge difference between Ukraine and Israel. And that's why I was so upset when Biden tried to create some sort of a similarity. In this current war, notice I says current, a harm was done to Israeli citizens. But in this current war, Hamas is Russia. I'm sorry. Netanyahu and the IDF is Russia. Overpowering. Look, they're using their overpower. It's simple. Just look at Gaza, look at the destruction in Gaza, and try to find some destruction in Israel. You won't find it. Look for the dead people in Gaza, open skull, wounds, cracked skulls, cracked hands, broken, people in pieces. Try to find that in Israel. You won't find it, right? Again, they're asking you to see. They're asking you not to see what your eyes are seeing. Open your eyes, open your minds, and think on your own. And learn about the creation of Israel. Learn about the creation of Israel. Learn about what had to be done to people that were on that land. It's important. And then also be humble and look at our own history. American history, and note that everything that we have ever accused others of doing, everything, we've done it. We've always tried to find an excuse to justify it, but we've done it. And that's one of the things that Israel is holding over our head. Melissa Bowie says, I'm on Ethiopia and Sudan. No one is speaking on Black lives. Israel is everywhere like the U.S. You know what's occurring in Ethiopia? Well, Ethiopia, between the two factions that are there, that is more of a civil war after the Eritrean war in Ethiopia. But what's occurring? I spent some time speaking to a Uber driver who was from one group and another group, and we went through the whole shebang. That now Sudan is a different issue. That's a genocide. But again, and I'm glad you brought that up, Melissa, because if you just take a look at our newspapers here in the United States, that is non-existent, right? You can pick up a paper in Panama or pick up a paper in France, France 24 or one of those, and you'll see the story. But again, France has some very dirty hands from Chad and all these other countries in Western Africa. Anyhow, I have one more video to show you before we end the day, and this has to do with Governor West yesterday talking about no labels as well as talking about Joe Manchin. I think it's worth a listen. Let's go ahead and listen to it, and then we'll take it on the other side. Let's go for that right now. Maryland Governor Wes Moore has a warning for Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin, don't destroy your legacy. Don't be foolish. Don't run as a third party. I want you to see how he warns Joe Manchin and then what he has to say about Biden. And, for the most part, well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and listen to what he has to say. Then I have quite a bit to say on the other side. Check this out.
So what about Manchin? Joe Manchin announced he's not running for re-election to the Senate. He's clearly talking about running for a party running for president as a third party ticket, no labels. He's talking about trying to have a movement to mobilize the middle in this country. What's your message to Joe Manchin?
My message to Joe Manchin is I thank him for his service. I think he's had a career of distinguished service. Both
42 years in public office.
That's right. Both as governor, senator. I would urge him not to mar his legacy by getting involved in something so foolish.
So foolish, why?
Because if you look at what No Labels is, No Labels literally has no plan, has no path, has no policy platform. They don't even have a candidate. What No Labels is, it's a configuration made up of dark money that won't disclose its donors, but is frankly just going to simply hand an election off by being able to not actually come up with a solution, but just continuing to throw wood into this flame of disillusionment. It is not real.
How much of a threat, though, is the idea of a No Labels candidate, Cornel West? You have Jill Stein running again as the Green Party candidate or running for the Green Party nomination. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is out there. Could we see third-party candidates cost Biden his election, actually get Donald Trump back in the White House?
No, because I think what President Biden is going to continue to show is that results do matter. You know, it's one thing to say we're going to rail against the system. And it's another thing to actually work to make systems better. And that's what I think President Biden has continued to show. You know, when you think about the bills that he has passed, the work that he has done all throughout this country in urban, rural, and suburban parts of this country about economic growth and economic upliftment, about being able to make sure that people's freedoms are actually protected and everybody is seen in conversations and not just some. That's what President Biden has been able to push on. That's what he's been able to get done. Not rhetoric, not hand-wringing, not fist-banging, but actually real productive results for the people of this country. And so I think all the other things will just sound like noise, while President Biden's results will sound like actually what they are, real productive momentum for the people of this country.
Now, yes, Wes Moore is right. Joe Manchin need to sit his butt down. The reason he left the Senate, the senatorial race, was because there's not a chance in hell that he was going to beat the governor, I think the current governor of West Virginia, who has decided to run for the Senate seat. He's going to get his clock cleaned by him. But that's not the issue. A lot of these senators and congresspersons, they just believe that they have to be in power all of the time. So that is even besides the point. The reality is as follows. Wes Moore is correct for telling him, don't run. You'll likely hurt, not only you just hurt our basic body politic. And when Wes Moore goes ahead and enumerates the accomplishments of the President Biden, the one thing he forgot to say was that those accomplishments in those 2 years, some of them reverted right back to how things were before because of Joe Manchin, the guy who would want us to believe he wants to run as a third party for president. So as he criticizes Manchin, that is, the state of our economy, the state of many workers, etc., what he forgets is that much of that problem was created by his lack of continuing with the progressive agenda that President Biden was invoking based on what the progressive caucus convinced him to go with, because these are things the American people want. Wes Moore is a bit more optimistic, or rather a bit too rosy, however, on the accomplishment given the regressiveness of what has occurred after the pandemic. Monies have really started to expire, to run out, to no longer be stimulative to the economy. Things like not getting the support for daycares, etc. Now that is gone and Manchin refuses to put it up, things are not looking as good as it was for many. So while in the aggregate the economy is doing fine, I think Wes Moore would do better to have said that those problems that we're having today or because of Manchin and Sinema's inability to fulfill what Americans want. But most importantly, realize that what Biden did was under the auspices of progressives. Now, that said, let's be clear here. There is another issue looming over the horizon, and that is Israel. Israel, Gaza, Palestine, Hamas. The rest of the world, maybe not the president in that respect is displaying the old adage that people had of the Middle East. We could tell the people in America, don't believe what your eyes are seeing, because the IDF, Netanyahu, the Israeli government is doing what's right, and Americans just bought it. But now they have not only the eyes that they can see from Google satellite, they also have all the images coming in from people's cell phones all over Gaza as they are seeing the suffering and deaths of 11,000 Gazans. Yes, 1,400 Israelis were murdered. Innocent Israelis were murdered. But when you talk about simply going in then to Gaza, claiming to go to kill the others, and it turns out this way, Americans, the young people, many people of color, they actually see what Biden doesn't want you to see in his quest to appease Netanyahu. And I don't know if that stance is maintained, if he has the votes of those that he will need. And you may say, so where are they going to go? Are they going to go to Trump? No. They'll stay home. They'll throw their hands up and say, c'est la vie. What will be after all. You know, this is what they're seeing. So Wes Moore will do well. I mean, he's correct with wanting to get wanting Manchin not to run. He's correct that the first 2 years of the Biden presidency, because of the stimulative effect created by the progressive policies he passed based on what the progressives asked him to pass, was great. But where the failure is are two places. One, Manchin was highly responsible for the current decline and the increase in poverty of many. Manchin, a Democrat, was responsible for that by not supporting the bill. And secondly, Biden's Israel stance will cost him.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those.
All right, folks. I want to read this from Melissa. Melissa has a friend in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. And apparently she's corresponding with a person. I think I got that right? And it said, I hope that this message will receive you in the best of health and good spirit. How have you been for these days? Here is my part. There's nothing to be told as good news. I don't know either of you heard or not, but there were a big war in the town of Lalibela, and many of the residents are displaced. Many residents and soldiers are dead. Many are injured, and the other are hungered because over the last 5 days, we don't walk outside because of fighting. We're inside of town. Even at the right time, I don't have any guarantee. Most of the young are fled and go to Addis Ababa, because at this time, Addis Ababa is the less safe city. It's true that even in Addis Ababa, many Amharas are prisoner, but at least Addis Ababa is a better city, and most of the young are already fleeing to Addis Ababa. Over the last 5 days, the Amhara armies known as Fano were captured the town of Lalibela, and many soldiers are killed by these armies, but finally this forced back into the forest, and when the national defense backed into the city, they took most of the youngs and they killed them because the national defense want to revenge these armies by killing the Lalibelan young people. My dear, I know I'm coming with different requests since this war started in our areas, but please be so great and understand me. Why are we coming such requesting topics? Because I really don't want to die at the age of I am therefore, I'm kindly asking if you'll please try your best to let me go to Addis Ababa and let me live there, because the Amwara Fano warning all the residents that they will come again and they will revenge the national forces because they killed many of the young civilians. Fortunately, the National Guard are not killed or injured. The women's old, but their target were young. We're the one under their target, but in a past war, we all are surviving. But if the Amhara force comes again, final force comes again and attack the national forces, undoubtedly, I'm next who killed by, but there is a flight and everyone is go to Addis Ababa by flight. And I could wish, if it's possible, to go to Addis Ababa. Good thing is those flights are generally cheap. Thank you very much by American standards. Thank you very much for your kind understanding. I'm eagerly awaiting your answer. Tell me a little bit about that. Is that a pen pal of yours that you've been working with? Melissa, let us know in the chat. Or if you want to call in, you can call in as well. Number is 281-823-7747. Again, there's so much news that's occurring throughout the world. And so often we are just concentrating on a few of them. And the truth of the matter is, yours truly has to do better as well. Because again, that is what we preach here, right? We preach that we need to tell the stories that most Americans are hearing as well. This strictly off the record, Bob, but as you know, I'm a Democrat in name only, so my leaving the Senate will help the GOP while giving a final FU to that Democratic Party at the same time. That is that is a message. That is a message Joe Manchin is giving to Bob. What's his name again? The Bob from you know when. All right. Bob Woodward. That's his name. Bob Woodward. Anyhow, folks, we're coming close to the end of the program. So is there anything anybody wants to add? Anything anybody wants to call? 281-823-7747. Let's see. Melissa says, like the AG trial said, there are no coincidences in Austin. I am, say, neither Houston or the 50 states. Mike Cisak says, neither the Democratic or Green parties are for freedom, liberty. They are for dominance. Yeah, I know. I know you're looking into a mirror that shows things on the reverse. Oh, I didn't put that on the screen for you, Breach. So badly of me. There we go. It's on the screen now. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Robert Davenport says, revenge as national policy is called war crimes. Agreed. What else have we got here? Let's see what else have we got here. I'm going through our scrolls to see what else we've got here. Bruce Pollard says, dirties the ballot. Anyone who votes third party dirties the ballot. There will be noise. If a candidate does not rise against the noise, they deserve to lose or win by a coin swap. We need to support the party candidate and sing their praise. And like I said, Bruce, I don't make any bones about it. If it's Biden against Trump, Biden gets my vote. I don't think anybody in any state in this particular election should vote anything other but straight ticket Democratic. I normally would not say that, but at this point, I think every single American citizen that thinks should vote straight ticket Democratic the entire 2024. We can sort things out later on when we get a sensible Republican Party that's not trying to eliminate democracy. We can talk about that then. All right, what else people have to say? Let's see. Melissa Boo says he is in La Libela. Okay. Who is he, Melissa? Is it a pen pal, a friend? What is he? Alistair Waters says Americans' lives are murdered by other Americans. Eric Uvalde, thank you for reminding us about that, Alistair. Robert Davenport says, I have visited war zones and I've never expected our country to avenge me if I was lost. Visit occupied territories at our own peril. Egberto Willis, the following is regarding Veterans Day for the screen. All right, if you ask for it, I'll put it on the screen for you, my dear lady. It's on the screen now. My child served in Iraq. So says Joe Biden. My child funneled money from a kids' cancer charity into my business. But it's worse. Donald Trump says, and this is no joke. Donald Trump calls people who serve in the military fools. And he said if any of his kids attempted to serve in the military, he would disown them. That's out of the words of Donald Trump. Yes, out of the words of Donald Trump. All right. Anything anybody else want to say before we close this baby down? We have about 5 minutes. Anybody want to call? 281-823-7747. Again, that number is 281-823-7747. I await your call. Bruce says, so we ignore age and support the party of our choice. No, I don't. Look, right now, Bruce, I'm not even telling people select the party of their choice. I'm saying to save our country, the only vote right now, and I'm not the only one saying this. You have a whole lot of conservative Republicans saying that right now. You want to save the country? Every single thinking person must vote Democratic in the 2024 election. It's that simple. It is that simple. 281-823-7747. Give us a quick call. I can take your call, Melissa, if you want to call in, or anybody else who want to call in. We have a few minutes. And by the way, unlike KPFT, I have the right to go over here. I don't like to because I have a lot of work to do, but I have the right. I met him at 14 when I went to La Libela. Oh, really? Wow. That is great. So you actually have a personal relationship. That is great. That is actually great because, he'll always remember that. 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. I'll take calls for the next 3 minutes. Salute to Bridge MCP and all the progressives. Bruce says, this is the party of our choice and we need to sell roses and ignore thorns. I agree. Melissa says he is 4 other boys I keep up with. I knew there was something special when I met you on the KPFT live show. From the time you spoke a lot about homeschooling your kids for particular reasons during the pandemic and doing things right, you have proven yourselves, my dear. We have a lot of angels in this group. Thank you so kindly. Robert Davenport says, salute to Bridge MCP and all progressive women. Thank you for that super chat, Robert Davenport, número 2. Thank you for that super chat, Robert. We cannot keep this going without you. It is you who allow us to do what we do. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Folks, tomorrow, I am supposed to try to do live because we have a press conference that we're supposed to be doing tomorrow. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to come live from that place. I'm going to try because I don't know what their facilities offer. But tomorrow should be an intriguing show if everything that I think is going to work out tomorrow works out. But also, don't forget to listen to the morning shows, those of you who can. I've been getting a lot of many of you listening to our morning shows. I can't thank you enough. Those of you who can take me for twice a day, I love you so much. You guys are the best. You guys are the absolute best is what I should actually say. All right, I'm going to be shutting this baby down. Thank you for being here. Get that hot spot warmed up. Yes, sir, I will. Alyssa Waters says, you get to vote now. Melissa Bowie says, that's a hard pass for me. All right, folks, got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. Thank you all for being here. You know how I end this baby. I am what? Oh, wait. I forgot to ask you to please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Please become a paid supporter of our newsletter. It's free, but if you become a paid supporter, all of my books you can read on Substack And all my subsequent books, you will be able to read on Substack. So please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Please become a paid subscriber, and then you can get all these little goodies. So thank you so kindly, buddy. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.